And a touchdown for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Hey, all, Rick here from Ticats Talk Network for Ticats Talk Network After Dark, where we, do our game review after the game and give our thoughts. So a couple of things. Let me just pull up my notes here from the other day. So Hamilton started off slow. They ended up losing 38-26. They tried to come back in the fourth quarter, but it was little too late. Bo ended up throwing 31 of 50 for 304 yards, 1 touchdown, average of 1.6. Some of the passes Bo was throwing was over people's heads. I think he was rushing some of those passes that were thrown incomplete. Again, not all of the passes were on his fault. Some people juggled them. Again, some of them were over people's heads. But he needs to be better when it comes to throwing his passes. Now, Tim White led with 1 carry for 14 yards, average of 14. Greg Bell had 8 carries for 14 yards, 1.8. Milanovic Litre had 2 carries for 12 yards, average of 6. While Levi Mitchell had 1 carry for 11 yards. Nick Constantino, our punter, had a bad snap. He tried to run, but only got 1 yard on that carry. And then Keandre Smith went to go for a jet sweep and ended up losing 5 yards. So this is where I have a kind of a problem with this team, is they rushed the Kenny Lawler the Bo to Kenny Lawler. Lawler went 6 for 13, 87 yards, 1 touchdown. Yeah, he got his touchdown as a Ticat. You can't rush that. The chemistry will come. I mean, Tim White went 6 for 9, 69 yards. Brendan Leary 5 for 7, 55. Keandre Smith 4 for 7, 33 yards. Greg Bell 6 for 7, 32 yards. Shamar Bridges 3 for 6, 26 yards. Litre 1 catch for 2 yards. Like, the chemistry with this team will come. You just got to give it time. And stop like, a lot of those passes were rushed. He threw it to Kenny Lawler when he had like 2 or 3 people on him. Obviously, he wasn't going to catch the ball. If you can't throw it, run. And on defense, Jamal Peters led the way with 7 tackles. Brendan Dozier, I'm actually quite surprised. He had 6 defensive tackles, considering he didn't play in the preseason. Kyle Wilson and Stavros Katratonis both had 5 tackles. Stavros had 1 interception, should have had 2, but he had a voided interception because someone was offside. Jonathan Moxley had 4 defensive tackles, 1 interception. Miles Fox, 3 defensive tackles. Dustin Talbert, 3 defensive tackles. Tajon Garbett, 2 defensive tackles and 2 tackles for loss. Ray Wilburn, 2 defensive tackles and a special teams tackle. Deshaun Amos, 2 defensive tackles. Mario Kendricks had 2 defensive tackles and a sack that got us a safety against Calgary, so we got 2 points out of that. Casey Sales, 2 defensive tackles. Isaiah Begnar, rookie, one of our 2025 draft picks, 1 defensive tackle and a safety. Julian Hauser, Devin Brezek, Mac Batney, and Ryan Baker all had 1 defensive tackle. Mark Lego went 3 for 3 for 47 yards, 1 extra point. Perfect on the kick-in. Nick Constantino, 5 punts, 61 yards. 84 was his longest, 305 total yards. Isaiah Wooden had 1 punt return for 9 yards. Kickoffs, Mark Lego had 3 for 163 yards, average of 54.3, longest was 78. Isaiah Wooden, 5 kickoff returns, 205 yards, average of 41. He did have a kickoff return for a touchdown, so his longest is 105. Johnny Augustine had 1 for 28 yards on average. For the Calgary side, Vernon Adams went 19 for 28, 284 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Dedrick Mills, 17 carries, 94 yards, 3 touchdowns, 5.5 yards. Vernon Adams, 3 carries for 33 yards, average of 11 yards. Jen Swan Antwi, 9 carries for 30 yards, 3.3. Philip Walker, 2 carries for 1 yard, average of 0.5. Clark Barnes went 4 for 4, 112 yards, average of 28. Reggie Bangleton went 5 for 7, 58 yards, average of 11.6. Tevion Jones, 4 for 7, 48 yards, average of 12. Dedrick Mills, 3 for 3 for 30 yards, average of 10. Jalen Philpott, 2 for 5, 21 yards, average of 10.5. And Dominic Rhymes, 1 for 1 for 15 yards, or average of 15. Marquel Lee had 10 defensive tackles. Cedric Moncrief, 6. Damian Webb and Adrian Green both had 4. Micah Heights and Sheldon Arnott, 2nd. And Jacob Roberts each had 3 defensive tackles. Clarence Hicks, Jadon Grant, and Miles Brown each had 2 defensive tackles. And then Tyler Richardson, Tevion Jones, Dominic Rhymes, Flo Ordamalade, and Gary Johnson Jr. each had 1. Rene Paredes went 3 for 3. Longest was 42, 4 extra points. And he was perfect on the night. Fraser Mazin, I was surprised of how well he did on some of his punts. He had 4 punts, average of 57.5. Longest was 75. That's one where they punted it and it landed on our 2-yard line. Had 230 yards. Eric Brooks had 3 punt returns for 13 yards, average of 4.3. Longest was 8. Curtis had 7 kickoffs for 508 yards total, 72.6. 85 was his longest. And then Eric Brooks had 2 returns for 35 yards, 17.5. Longest was 23. And then Tevion Jones, 1 kickoff return for -3 yards. Just before I get into team stats, I have some things to go over. Run defense needs to improve. We can't be allowing them. What did they have? 158 yards rushing. We can't allow that, so our run defense needs to be better. Number 2, Bo needs to be more accurate with his passes. Enough of these 1 to 3 yard passes. You do 1 to 3 yard passes on your first down, you're looking at now 2nd and long. And our second downs, we're 7 for 23, and we're only 30%. So, I mean, we weren't even half. So, they got to work on that. Great game from Witten, the senior, with his 105-yard kick return for a touchdown. O-line did well. No sacks against. Bo wasn't sacked once. Defense also, I think, did well in a sense. I mean, not to give up 38 points, but they also had 2 interceptions, almost had a third, and didn't allow Vernon Adams to throw a single touchdown. We need a run game. We only had 47 rushing yards. You can't win a game on 47, so hopefully we can do better on the rush game. They need to clean up a couple of They need to clean up the penalties, and again, sound like a broken record, but every game we have dumb ass penalties. Offside on Cachatonis' third. There was a 26-yard pass thrown to Lawler that was called back. A couple when we were, less than 4 minutes left in the game, we were having our run down to to get a couple of touchdowns. A couple of boneheaded holdings and offsides. Like, we got to clean that stuff up because all you're doing is killing the momentum for our team. So these are lots of things that we can fix for next game. Again, there were some positives, so hopefully we can continue on the positives. Now for passing, we had 50 attempts for 304 yards. They had 28 for 284. They had 31 rushes for 158, where we had 14 for 47. Team losses, we had 1 loss for 1 yard. They had 2 for 14. They had 61 plays for 428 net offense. We had 66 plays for 250. The first downs, we had 4 passes, 16 runs, and 3 penalties, whereas they had 9 passes and 15 runs with no penalties. We had 2 sacks for 14 yards. They had no sacks. Our second down conversion was 7 for 23 for 30.4, whereas they were 14 for 25 for 56%. They had 2 giveaways. We had none. 0 fumbles in the game. We had 9 penalties for 75 yards. They had 8 penalties for 85 yards. We went 1 for 2. That should be. I don't know how 1 for 2. Oh, 1 opportunity. We had 1 opportunity for 2 touchdowns. I don't know how that's 33%. That should be 50%, not 33. If I understood this correctly. They had 4 for 4. And they went 100% in the red zone. We had 4 tackles for loss. They had 2. No block kicks. 2 interceptions for 28 yards. Both teams went 3 for 3. Hamilton's longest was 47. Their longest was 42. 5 punts for 305 yards. Average of 61. For Ticats, they had 4 punts for 230 yards. Average of 57.5. We had 1 punt for 9 yards. They had 3 punts for 13. 7 kickoffs for 233 yards. Average of 33.3, whereas they had 3 kickoffs for 32 yards and at 10.7. We had 28 minutes and 11 seconds for time of possession. They had 31 minutes and 49 seconds for time of possession. We should have won this game. We didn't. I mean, we had a lot of things that we had to change. So hopefully, injury report doesn't come out till Tuesday. So hopefully, with Sunday's day off, Monday is film. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday practice. Friday walkthrough. Saturday is the game, so hopefully we can bounce back against Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan lost a bunch of players in their game. Roland Minigan Jr., which we'll have to see on Tuesday if he's still injured or not. It could have just been a precaution, kept him out for the rest of the game. AJ Ouellette, I believe, is long term because they just signed Kadeem Carey today. And then they have who else was it? Oh yeah, Keon Schaefer Baker was also injured, and I think an offensive lineman was injured. Ottawa lost 3 games in theirs, so it's interesting to see what these injuries are going to be. Also, we had Stubblefield on the one game. Is he going to be back for next week? Are they just going to keep him out till week 4? Drew Wolotarski. I wonder if they bring him next week. It will be interesting to see who they put on the one game this upcoming week. But we'll have our preview video come out. We'll record it Friday because the depth chart comes out Friday, so it'll be out Saturday morning. Don't forget to check out the Jake Dolagala video, signing video that I did, the fantasy review video that will be coming out to go over all of the CFL fantasy numbers from this past week. Wednesday, we're going to look at the CFL fantasy numbers and matchups for week 2. But I do appreciate everyone for stopping by and checking out today's first ever Ticats Talk After Dark. Let me know what you think from this game, what you think that we should look on, any bright spots for this upcoming season. But I do appreciate everyone for stopping by and checking out today's video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified once other content does come out on the channel. This is Rick from Ticats Talk After Dark, and have yourself a great rest of your day.